What is going on, guys? Basso Show here. Welcome back to the channel. I've been very busy the past 2 days with Camera and Siege. I'm doing a series of videos about Camera trial that most likely I'm gonna be dropping it tomorrow because today I was so busy and I didn't want to rush the video out. So I'm gonna start from Friday night or Saturday morning. And because I was so busy, I didn't saw the news about the upcoming buffs. There's gonna be 3 champions getting buff. One is Sirsha the Charre. This champion is behind a big paywall. Unfortunately, I got her. That means I spent too much money into this game. And she's getting a solid buff. She can be good, I think, for Camera as well. But I'm not gonna talk about her buff yet. I'm gonna just test her when the patch will be live. But I also saw the second champion that got buff is Gregor, and I don't know why they buffed this champion. Honestly, there are so many pointless legendary champions sitting in the vault for years. This champion was actually solid the way it was, but now he got buffed and actually super strong. So be ready to struggle in Siege if there is a team only Barbarian and this guy is right there. But I didn't read at the POLARA buff yet. I want to do a live reaction because I have high expectation for this champion. I really hope Plarium does a good job because I have a solid Sake Order team for Tag Arena and Arena, and I also use it in Siege as well. So I really hope she can be an option for that team because I'm struggling a lot. I don't have increased attack on my team. I don't have a cleanser or someone that can strip buff from the enemy team. So I really hope she's gonna be the case. So I'm gonna bring up the buff and I'm gonna read it with you guys. Okay, here we go. Let me make them bigger so you guys can read them too. You guys probably already know what she does, but I don't. I honestly don't know what is going on here. So, first form. The buff is she attack one enemy, place an extra hit if the target is under any buff or debuff. So she's gonna do a 2 hit. So before the extra hit was only if the target was under any debuff. Now it's buff or debuff. Damage multiplier change. So it looks like it's gonna be a nuker type of buff. And I tested this champion in Factual War. I was using it in Factual War for a while. She wasn't doing any damage, guys. So this is a triple hit. Will ignore 25% of the defense, 50% if the enemy are under HP burn or freeze, but it will ignore 100% of the target defense instead if the target is under both debuff. I thought she was already doing that. Actually, the passive, I think there is a passive that said that if the enemies are under this debuff, she does maybe extra damage or something. Okay, so now they ignore 100% your defense if they have HP burn and freeze. But the thing is, who's gonna land the HP burn? She does, I know that. But there aren't any other champion except for like maybe 1 or 2 that do HP burn in the second order faction. After that, she's just gonna get a damage multiplier, and hopefully it's gonna be a big one like Phoenix type of multiplier because she deserves that. If Phoenix can hit hard as an epic, why a mythical champion can't hit hard like Phoenix? Doesn't make sense. Let's see the A3. So attack all enemies. Before attacking, easily activate any HP burn debuff on all enemies. Then place another HP burn debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. This debuff cannot be resisted. Amazing. The fact that it can be resisted is amazing. So basically you're gonna attack, but before you attack you popped the HP burn. So who's gonna place the HP burn? Let's see. This attack does single target damage, will ignore shield, block damage, unkillable. That's the same. So they add also this effect, grant an extra turn if the attack kills an enemy, which is good, especially if this skill does more damage since they're gonna change the multipliers. Now this is the passive I was talking about. This champion deals 50%, used to be 25%, so 50% more damage against enemy that have HP burn or freeze, and receive 50% less damage for enemy under HP burn. And then the champion does 100% more damage against enemy with both. So they increase the extra damage if they have HP burn or freeze by 25%, so it's 15 total, and then you receive less damage, which it wasn't there before. The champion is immune to both freeze and HP burn debuff. Okay, this is very interesting. I like that, especially if you have to face you know, in Siege, for example, you have to face Lady Noel and Cernic in the condition only sacred. It would be amazing if she can just be immune to freeze, so you can actually deal with Cernic because she ignore block damage and unkillable, you can also kill Cernic through the unkillable with the taunt. So for Siege, she can actually be good. I wasn't expecting this buff. I was hoping for a rework, if I have to be honest. But looks like she's gonna be more solid as a nuker here, and looks like she's gonna place an HP burn that can be resisted here, because this party is not a condition. Like if you activate the HP burn, then place an HP burn for 1 turn. You say then place another HP burn debuff on an enemy for 1 turn. So hopefully this lands if no enemy have HP burn. And also, I was just reading the A2. There is a big difference here, because as I skip this part, place an HP burn debuff on all enemy for 2 turns, this debuff cannot be resisted. This skill was terrible before, because this skill didn't do much damage, and I was struggling to kill an enemy. Because on the current version, you only place HP burn if the target is killed by the skill. So now they removed the part where you don't have to kill the enemy. So this champion now has 2 skills that place HP burn AoE, 1 for 2 turn, 1 for 1 turn, and this debuff cannot be resisted. So finally, she's gonna be a god HP burn champion in this form. And by the looks of it, she's gonna also do a lot of damage. 100% in your defense. You can't do this with bosses unless the boss can be freeze, but you know, it's still a 50% in your defense when they have HP burn, which is massive. Oh my god, this champion is gonna do also a lot of damage, and it doesn't need Merciless. You know, you can build it with another set if you want to. Alright, let's jump into the second form. So if I remember correctly, she attacks one enemy and then she plays ally protection on a random ally. Let's see what she does now. So attack one enemy, plays a 60% increased defense on a random ally and this champion for 2 turns. So they remove the ally protection and they place increased defense. If the randomly selected ally is already under the increased defense, place it on another random select ally. So it was the same thing, but they changed the buff. So it's not ally protection, it's increased defense. And then the second part is the same, heal this champion and no allies under increased defense instead of ally protection. So there is a trial in Chimera that you need to bring a champion that does increased defense. Maybe this champion can be covering that part. I've been doing Chimera for so long this week that now I think just about Chimera. So that one is probably better. You want to have increased defense instead of ally protection. Ally protection doesn't make much sense because you're gonna get killed if you put ally protection on all your champion. You know, it's not a tank champion. It's not a, especially if you wanna build him as a nuker, right? So why would you wanna have the ally protection? So I like the first part. Now day 2, it looks pretty much the same. So you place block debuff and 20% strengthen on all allies, and that's amazing for Chimera as well, guys. Block debuff, and then you place 100% snare, the same, and a block buff debuff. Okay, they are this one. This debuff cannot be resisted by enemies under HP bar or freeze. Okay, block buff is actually good. It counters Mercurio, it will counter Cernic and Noel if you face them in siege. Now let's see the A3. Not a big change here. So you attack all enemies, you place intercept stack on all allies, place a freeze debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. This debuff cannot be resisted. 2-turn freeze. Wow, I think that's the first champion that can do that. Wow, it's not a small change, it's a big change. Freeze for 2 turns, that's insane. Actually, the intercept stack is actually really cool because there is a trial that is very hard to do, the one that you need to block the stun from the ram, and usually is a trial that give mythical material, so you need to do it, and sometimes you might miss it for some bad RNG. So I would love to bring this champion and do the intercept instead of the block debuff. So I really like this form for Chimera. I'm gonna test it in Chimera 100%. Now let's hope for a top passive as well. So when an ally die each round, he comes back to life with 100% HP but has a freeze. Okay, and the freeze can be blocked or resisted, and then ally on the freezer receive 90% less damage if there are multiple champions, blah blah. Okay, so what it does here is the 90% damage reduction is still there, and then whenever the champion is attacked, place HP burn debuff on the target for 2 turns. This debuff can be resisted. Oh my goodness. Okay, amazing. So that means you can place the HP burn on the Chimera in this form as well. Remove any freeze debuff from each ally before the start of their turn. Wow. So now your ally doesn't have to wait a turn to do something. So basically they get this freeze, they're gonna get 90% less damage plus the damage reduction from the freeze, but then when they take a turn, you're gonna basically remove the freezes. So guys, this champion is gonna be insane for Chimera. because imagine you go into the ram form, and you know how the ram form plays the dual buff on the enemy with the lowest critical damage, and then eventually he's gonna get killed, most likely. He's gonna get killed, the ally, but then he come back to life with the freeze, 90% reduced damage, and then the ally is gonna take a turn straight away. So to me, this buff, they scream Chimera, guys, especially the second form. You can do the increased defense trial, you can do the block debuff or the intercept trial, the one that you have to block the debuff, and then you bring block buff that you always need against the fast Chimera form, the one that plays increased speed on himself. Strengthening is super good, and then you have this passive where you're gonna basically protect the team from dying. You can only do this at the start. It just say once per round, so you still need to bring a actual reviver in case they die twice, but it does have a really cool kit. And then when you don't need this utility here on the second form, you can jump into the first form and you can do damage, because by the looks of it, you're gonna need defense, place HP burn, activate HP burn, the damage multiplier got increased on all his skill. So I really hope she's gonna hit really hard. She's gonna need a lot of defense in the first form that maybe she doesn't need Crush Rend assist a blessing. I have her with 1-star blessing, but to me it looks like she doesn't need a blessing because you don't need the accuracy here on her kit. She already knows the defense, so you can probably use it even with like 2-3 stars or even without stars. So guys, honestly, I wasn't expecting this. I was expecting sort of like a rework. There are some mythical champions that are busted in this game. They do so many things. They can honestly 1v4 a team in arena. She didn't got that treatment, but her buff are really good for Chimera and can be really good when you face Lady Noelle Cernic in Siege, for example, against the Sacred Order only condition, or in Tag Arena is full of Noelle and Cernic team down there. So I'm actually excited. I'm gonna book her eventually because that's my next mythical that I'm gonna place book on her, and then I'm gonna do some tests. Hopefully it's gonna be next week during the patch. So I'm looking forward for this buff. And if you don't have her, go and check out my videos on faction wars. If you struggle, let me know in the comment section and I can do some videos about stages that you guys are struggling with. But those guys that I've been doing is more for like stage 21 full auto or with a bit of targeting. So I'm gonna leave a link to the playlist, and if you wanna go and check it out, let me know what you guys think about this buff. Drop a like to support the channel, subscribe if you're new, and catch you in another video. See ya.